All right, so there's this new buzzword floating around the tech world. You might have heard it whispered in stand-ups or seen it pop up in Slack. It's called vibe coding.
And if you ask somebody what it is, you'll probably get an answer that sounds a whole lot like this. It's treated like this mysterious, almost magical thing that just makes a team click, you know? You can't define it, but you know it when you feel it.
Well, that's exactly what we're going to do here. We are going to pull back the curtain on vibe coding. We're going to demystify it and really figure out what it means when you're trying to build software.
So first things first, let's get a solid definition down. What are we really talking about when we say vibe coding?
Okay, here's the heart of it. Vibe coding isn't just chaos or making things up as you go. It's a very specific kind of collaboration. It's all about team members having such a deep shared understanding that they can communicate almost telepathically. This gets rid of the need for constant explicit updates, which, frees up all that brain power for the actual work. It's making decisions based on intuition, but an intuition that's built on a rock-solid foundation of trust. And this is so important to get. It's really easy to look at this and just dismiss it as being lazy or unstructured, but that's not it at all. The process is just implicit. It's baked into the team's culture and their relationships, not spelled out in some 100-page document nobody ever reads. To really get a feel for this, let's put it side by side with a more traditional way of doing things. We're talking vibe-driven versus process-driven development. So this really lays out two totally different worlds, right? Over on the left, you've got vibe-driven teams. Decisions happen fast, they're intuitive, and new folks learn just by being around, through osmosis. On the right, you have process-driven teams, where everything is documented and onboarding is a super structured playbook. Now, neither one is better than the other. They're just built for completely different environments. Now, this kind of intuitive teamwork, it doesn't just happen by accident. It needs the absolute perfect environment to grow. You need high psychological safety, right? A place where people are not afraid to speak up or throw out a wild idea or even be wrong. You also need a team that's been in the trenches together long enough to have a shared history, like a mental shorthand. And, critically, it really only works with small, stable teams where trust is the bedrock of absolutely everything they do.
This analogy just nails it. An orchestra is precise, it's massive, and every single musician is following a super detailed score. That's a process-driven marvel. But a jazz quartet? They're listening to each other. They're responding in the moment, creating something brand new based on a shared understanding of the music. That's vibe coding.
Okay, so what happens when all these conditions are met and the vibe is just perfect? Let's take a look at the incredible upside. It creates this amazing positive feedback loop. See, because the team has that high-trust communication, they can iterate on ideas with incredible speed. It's so fluid. And that rapid cycle of feedback and building, it leads directly to a huge jump in both how fast they can develop and how much they innovate. It's just pure acceleration.
And hey, we're not just talking about feeling good. The results are real. For the right kind of projects, early stage stuff where the path forward is kind of fuzzy, a team that's really vibing can move up to twice as fast. For a startup, that kind of speed isn't just an advantage, it's how you survive.
But, and you knew there was a but coming, right? Relying on something as fuzzy as a vibe is definitely a high-risk, high-reward game. So what happens when the vibe goes bad?
So, what are the biggest assassins of a good vibe? Well, you can see it right here. The number one killer by a long shot is low psychological safety. If people are scared to be vulnerable or make mistakes, trust just evaporates. Unclear goals and a team that's constantly changing members are also surefire ways to completely break that unspoken alignment. And the fallout is, well, it's pretty severe. All that unwritten knowledge gets locked inside people's heads, creating these huge knowledge silos. Technical debt starts piling up like crazy because there are no clear processes. And trying to bring a new person into that kind of environment, forget it. It's nearly impossible. It can all curdle into a culture that feels really exclusionary, almost like a clique. This quote just says it all, doesn't it? A good vibe is a powerful accelerator. A bad vibe is an invisible anchor. The very same force that can launch a team forward can become this silent weight that just drags a project down to a dead stop. So this all leads to the big question. How do you know if this is the right approach for your team and your project? Let's get practical with a little checklist. All right, here are some signals to look for. If your team has been together for more than a year, there's a good chance you have that shared context you need. If your project goals are kind of vague or ambiguous, that's actually a perfect fit for this intuitive style. And if your team is small, say under 8 people, you can keep that communication channel wide open. If you're nodding along to these, you might be in a perfect spot to lean into the vibe.
And here it is, the single most important takeaway from all of this. Vibe coding is not a silver bullet. It is not about throwing all of your processes out the window. Think of it as a specialized tool for specific situations, a powerful supplement you can use right alongside a solid foundation of good engineering practices.
So, I'll leave you with this question to chew on. Think about your own team, the unspoken rules, the inside jokes, the way you all work together when the boss isn't looking. Is that collective vibe an asset that's pushing you forward? Or is it maybe a hidden liability that's holding you back? Is it a feature or is it a bug?